The weather is warming up, and that means it's also tick and chigger season. Hi everybody, welcome to Living Traditions Homestead. This is Sarah and Kevin, and you know, we spend a lot of time out in our pastures, out in the woods foraging, and Missouri has a lot of ticks, and it also has a lot of chiggers. So we thought that we would talk with you today a little bit about environmental control, like on your homestead, how to keep down the ticks and the chiggers, and then also how to prevent getting them on you as you're working, as you're hiking, and as you're foraging, and those kinds of things.
Now, one thing I have to say is, if you're going to live in this part of Missouri, there really is no way to prevent getting them on you. You're going to get ticks and you're going to get chiggers unless you lock yourself in your house and never go outside, and even then there's a good chance you're going to get them. So they're just part of life here. You want to try to minimize how many you get on you, and you want to try to get them off of you as quickly as possible, but at the end of the day, you're going to get them.
Right, but there are some things that you can do around the homestead to decrease the amount of ticks and chiggers that you'll come in contact with. Now, you know, the bottom line is the safest way to keep them off of you is to just not go in tall grass and not go in the woods as the weather warms up. But we have to come out in some of the long grass because of, you know, pasture and animals and those things, and we really like going in the woods. So as long as the season isn't ridiculous with them, you know, we really have found ways to still live our life and not just get bombarded with ticks and chiggers.
Now, it does seem like certain people are more prone to getting them on. Sarah seems to get more ticks than I do. I seem to get way more chiggers than anybody else in the entire universe. By the end of the summer, my feet and ankles look like I shoved them in a meat grinder because they're just, I mean, last summer, well, both summers that we've been here so far, this will be our third summer now, I've just gotten beat up by them pretty bad. Yeah. But usually, really by my own stupidity, because I didn't take precautions and I just kind of forgot that I need to do that when I go outside. And the times that I do take the appropriate precautions, I haven't gotten any. So learn from my mistakes, and I'm hoping that this summer I'll make it through the whole summer being smart, but that probably won't happen.
So around your homestead, some of the easy ways to keep ticks and chiggers away from close to the house is to keep your yard mowed and keep it really short. The ticks and the chiggers like tall grass. They hang on to the tall grass and they wait for somebody to walk by, and then they grab onto you and crawl up you and, you know, start biting from there. So that's one of the biggest ways to keep them at least away from the house and away from your general living area. Another suggestion is to get guineas. We this summer plan to get guineas for the very first time on the homestead, and we're really hoping that that's going to help out tremendously, and we're pretty excited about that.
Right. With guineas, you really want to start with little bitty babies, and we just haven't been ready for that prior to this year. So even though we knew that they would help, we just haven't been ready for them. So this year will be the year that we're going to get I don't know how many, but a significant amount, so that we can just have them around the property and be able to help keep things under control. Right. So stay tuned for those videos coming up this summer as we figure out how to raise guineas.
You scared me.
Whoops.
So okay, so those are the main two ways to keep them at least away from the house, so that you can kind of hopefully live a normal life. But what if you need to go into the pastures? What if you want to go hiking? What if you need to go into the woods where there's tall brush and those kinds of things? I can tell you what I do is I completely dress like a weirdo, and I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna tell you what works. Okay, it's not pretty, but it works. So basically, what I have on right now and how I'm dressed, minus maybe some long sleeves, is a good idea for going into potentially tick and chigger infested land. I wear my rubber boots and I tuck my pants into my boots, and then I make sure that I have like a tight fitting pants on with a belt, and I tuck my shirt in all down there. And today I don't have a long sleeve shirt, but I should have a long sleeve shirt. And the reason is, if they don't have a pant leg or something, or your shirt to crawl underneath, then they actually physically have to walk up you the entire way, and they're likely to either fall off, or you're likely to see them and notice them and brush them off. We also occasionally will use a bug spray with, you know, the bad chemicals and stuff that can prevent ticks and chiggers, but we really try to limit that to our knees and below.
Right, and never on bare skin.
Right.
So, yeah, we really try to put it mostly on our shoes, but yeah, from the knee down. But that's only if we're having a really, really hard time.
Right.
Otherwise, we do use some of the natural bug sprays.
Right.
Some natural bug soap that we've purchased.
Right. Yep.
And then, you know, some other natural, you know, oils and things that can help deter them.
Right.
So
lavender oil is a good one.
Right. We always try to go for the natural things first, and then the bad stuff. We usually have 1 can of it on hand every summer, just in case things get really, really bad.
Well, what about chiggers?
Well, for chiggers, I actually found something that works really well. An old timer kind of told me about it, and it's they actually told me that when they were growing up, all the guys would keep one of these under the seat of their truck, so that whenever they had to get out of their truck into a field or something, they could put this on and it would help keep the chiggers off. Let me show you what it is. So the main thing that you want to get is this right here, and you can get this in like garden supply stores, and this is sulfur powder. It's called dusting sulfur powder. I picked up this bag the first summer we were here for $5, and I haven't even used half of it yet, so you don't need very much. You know, maybe a cup of this will last you the entire summer. And here's the way that you use it. You go into the kitchen. Well, first you need to go into your bedroom and you need to find an old sock. And then you go into the kitchen and you get your wife's canning funnel. And you use the canning funnel to put some of the sulfur powder down into the sock. And then whenever you go outside into the you know, tall grass and things, you take the sock and you hit it on the bottoms of your pant legs and on your shoes and your boots, and the smell of the sulfur will actually keep the chiggers from crawling up your pant legs. And I can tell you, when I do this, it actually works really, really well. But like I said earlier, sometimes I forget, and that's when I get myself into trouble.
And then you scratch.
All night long.
And scratch, and scratch, and scratch, and scratch, and scratch. So you guys, it's coming into tick season, it's coming into chigger season. We just wanted to stop by and let you know that we've been battling those too. And we have found a couple ways to, you know, not win the battle, but have some kind of chance of, you know, surviving without going crazy.
Now the good news is, in this part of Missouri where we live, Lyme's disease is not a big issue. In fact, in the county that we live in, there really hasn't been any cases of Lyme's disease reported as of the last time that I looked. Now I'm sure that I said that, you guys will look it up and there'll be a million of them. But last time I looked, which was just a few months ago, there hadn't been any cases in the county that we live in. But regardless, you want to keep them off of you. And the main thing is, if you do find one on you, just don't freak out. It's really not that big of a deal, and most ticks need to be on you for at least 24 hours before they'll transmit a disease. Now there are some new diseases I know, and I don't remember what it's called right offhand, the new one that was kind of discovered last summer, but it's not in this part of the country. But that, from my understanding, is can be transferred within about 15 minutes of getting one on you. So,
wow.
And it can be pretty severe.
Right.
So you do want to take some precautions no matter where you live. But here, you know, we mostly have the tiny little seed ticks, and they don't seem to, you know, cause a real lot of problems other than being annoying. But
what I can tell you is that once we see our very first tick of the season, without fail, every single one of us checks does a check, full body check, every single night before bed when we're changing into our jammies and things. And you know, if we can't see, you know, our back or whatever, you know, we ask each other to help us out. But that is so important to make sure that before you go to bed, at least, you know, once a day when you're in the house for the rest of the night, to make sure you're checking to see that no ticks are on you.
So remember, we're not doctors. This isn't medical advice. We're not telling you that this is going to somehow prevent you from getting anything from a tick. But hopefully it will help you just a little bit, and to really let you know that, you know, it's just a fact of life. When you're active outside, you're going to be exposed to things. The main part is just to kind of take a deep breath. Don't worry too much about it. Don't let it you know, stop you from doing the things that you want to be doing outside, but to always keep in mind that those dangers are there.
Absolutely. So you guys, thanks so much for joining us this evening. Stay safe out there with the ticks and chiggers. Hey, if you enjoyed this video and you're not a subscriber yet, right now is the best time for you to hit the subscribe button below. If you enjoyed this, please share it with your friends and family. And until next time, you guys, thanks so much for stopping by the homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.